A very good morning to Madam and my fellow friends. We from Group 1. Before we start our speech analysis, I would like to introduce my teammate Gok Sing, Wan Ci, Kai Chi, Kai Xiang, and me, Zhi Hong. Today we are going to talk about what we learned from our topic, Violence Against Women, It's Man Issue, delivered by Jackson Kite, an anti-sexism educator. First, I would like to talk about how Jason Kite, the speaker, gained attention and the way he attracted the interest of the audience. The speaker created a suspense during the talk. He mentioned that I will refer to the shorthand as gender violence issue. They been seen as women's issue that some good guy help out with. But I have a problem who that frame and I don't accept it. I don't see this as woman issue that some good men help out with. In fact, I'm going to argue that these are men's issue. The speaker argued that gender violence is also a man's issue and suggests that framing it as a woman issue can be counterproductive in engaging men in the conversation. Next, the speaker also used a vision ad to gain the attention and interest of the audience. He used a very basic English sentence which John beat Mary and write it on a pen paper to show to audience and use it to explain how we can use the word to switch the focus from man to woman. The speaker start from John beat Mary and followed by Mary was beaten by John. Now the main person shift from John to Mary. And the third is Mary was beaten. Don't drop. After that is Mary was better. And the last is Mary is a better woman. We stop focus on John but fully on Mary. For the next question, I'm going to talk about which is how speaker establish the audience credibility. The speaker use derive credibility, which is the way how the presenter used to build credibility during the speech or presentation. The speaker use a woman perspective, stand, and a way of thinking to understand a woman when she faced the violence problem and how she able to do or not able to do for fixing the problem. The speaker emphasized that framing it as a woman's issue can lead some men to tune out and not pay attention. The use of language and societal structure often deflect attention away from men and onto women when discussing gender violence. The speaker also point out that when we are discussing race or sexual orientation, people often think of minority group like LGBT. Same with gender. Most of the people think about gender considered to women. What the speaker tried to say is the gender violence is not the woman problem, but is the man problem. Thank you. I would like to pass the speech to next person.
Hi everyone, my name is Yu Kai Xiang, and I'm going to talk about question 3, which is the main point in the speech and how are they supported. Elaborate with the example. So for the first main point in this speech, the speaker says that calling violence against women a woman issue give men an excuse not to pay attention, because men will ignore the issue when they hear woman issue, as men will think I am a guy that's for the girl or woman, so nothing related with me. And then for the second main point is victim blaming. This is because our current society will blame women, which is the victim, when there is some violence happening to them, such as asking why do they go out with this man, why do they keep going back, what was she wearing at that party, why was she drinking with those guys in that hotel rooms. In addition, the third main point is women who have been trying to speak out about this issue often get shouted down for their efforts. This is because men do not like when people are challenging their power in order to keep the current society system in place. And then for the fourth point, which is adult men with power should have the responsibility to stand on this issue. In this speech, the speaker say that powerful men and women in our society at all levels of institutional authority and power can change the paradigm of people's thinking. For example, when a professional coach or manager of a baseball team or a football team makes a negative comment, there will be the discussion on the sport blogs and in sport talk radios, and he will become a bad leader and bad example. Therefore, leadership training are required in order to avoid the violence issue. And then moreover, during this speech, the speaker also mentioned that men should have the courage and strength to stand up against men, because men can say and hear some things that sometimes women cannot say and hear, and men also can be the victim of other men's violence. For example, when a person or a guy making fun or talking nonsense about a woman, maybe we can talk about maybe we can stand out and speak, and maybe we can stand out against the man. For example, we can say, hey, that's not funny. That could be my sister you are talking about, and could you joke about something else? I don't appreciate that kind of talk. Lastly, the main point in the speech is bystander approach, and this approach focuses on bystander, which can be defined as anybody who is not involved directly in the situation. The purpose of this approach is to interrupt the process, to speak up, and to create a peer culture climate where the abusive behavior will be seen as unacceptable, wrong, and illegal, so that the perpetrator will lose their status. For question 4, what type of organization that the speaker used during the speech? And in this speech, the speaker used two types of speech organizational pattern, which are chronological speech organizational pattern and problem cost solution speech organizational pattern. Chronological speech organizational pattern used to arrange the main points sequentially according to when they happen in time and used before start the main point. For example, in the speech, the speaker used, I was at a dinner a number of years ago, and I worked extensively with the US military or the service. And I was at this dinner, and this woman said to me, I think she thought she was a little clever. She said, so how long have you been doing sensitivity training with this Marine? And I said, with all due respect, I don't do sensitivity training with the Marines. I run a leadership program in the Marine Corps. The speaker used this example so that he can start the main point, which is leadership program is required to avoid it is required so that they can solve the issue violence issue. And then for the second organizational pattern is a problem cost solution. And then this pattern is state a perceived problem as the main idea, and the main points will be the first to provide evidence of the problem and then suggest possible solution. In this speech, Jason Cage, which is the speaker, he provides some of the example of the gender violence issues, such as sexual abuse of children, domestic violence, sexual harassment, and so on. And then she identified the cause of this problem, which are victim blaming, lack of leadership, and so on. Lastly, she suggests some solution to solve the violence issue, which men should stand up to speak against another man, doing leadership program, bystander approach, and so on. So that's all for question 3 and question 4. I will pass the presentation to the next presenter.
Hi, I'm Kais, and I will present about how the speaker used the resources of the language and the types of connective used by the speaker. From the video, we found that the speaker used language resources vividly. He used similes to create image in the minds of his audience that connect emotionally. Similes is making comparison by using like or as. Speaker use this method to provide more specific idea to the audience to help the speaker clarify his message. In this speech, he used some relevant example to make the audience more aware that our silence is also a form of consent and complicity. As the example, just like if you are a white person and another white person make a racist comment, I hope that the white person would interrupt that racist enactment by a fellow white person. In addition, speaker also use language resources rhythmically. Rhythm is an important aspect of human communications. the rhythm of the speech can attract the attention of the audience. The speaker used repetitions to make the speech more rhythmic and allow the audience to understand the core content that the speaker wants to bring out more deeply. In the speech, the speaker kept repeating the word silence, and he want the audience to know that our silence on gender violence is the greatest harm to the victims. He mentioned silence a total of 5 times in the speech, as he say, there's been an awful of loss of silence in male culture about this ongoing tragedy of men violence against women and children. Hasn't there? There's been an awful lots of silence. And all I'm saying is that we need to break the silence, and we need more that men to do that. We want us not to be just silence and let this thing happen, but to change and transform them together. Next is about question 6. Question 6 is about connective. Connective are phrases or words that connect the concept in a speech and demonstrate their relationship. The use of connective will help the audience to focus on the point the speaker has made and what the speaker is now discussing. There are 4 connective which are transition, insider preview, insider summary, and sign off. First and foremost, the first type of connective used by the speaker is transitions. Transitions are used to help the speaker move from a complete idea to the new one. Transitions indicate what thoughts were left behind and what thoughts emerge. For example, once we start making those kind of connection and asking those important and big questions, then we can talk about how we can be transformative. In other words, how can we do something differently? How can we change the practice? How can we change the socialization of boys and the definition of manhood that lead this current outcome? The speaker used the word in others' words to bring the audience from asking what women are doing and thinking in relationship or elsewhere to the point of what we can do for these issues. Furthermore, for the second type of connective used by the speaker is internal preview. An internal preview is a statement that outlines the main point or topic that will be discussed within the speech itself. It typically occur before the speaker transition into a new section or topic. For example, I want to share with you this exercise that illustrates on the sentence structures level how the way that we think literally, the way that we use language, conspiracy to keep our attention off men. And this is about domestic violence in particular, but you can plug in other analog. This comes from the work of the feminist linguistic of Julia Penelope. The speaker used this sentence to let the audience know what he is going to discuss next. Besides, the third type of connective used by the speaker is internal summaries. An internal summary is a statement that recapitulates the main point or argument that have been discussed thus far in the speech. It typically occur within the speech, helping the audience to retain and comprehend the information presented from the speech. Speaker said, and I just want to give you the highlights of the bystander approach. This is to reinforce and solidify the audience understanding that we should not be silenced to what is happening. We need to speak out to help those in need because our silence is also a form of consent and complicity. Lastly, the last type of connective is science fault. Science faults also brief deterrents that inform the listener of the speaker's location in the resources. Size faults are often quantities of word that indicate that what the speaker is about to say is significant. For example, the first is that it gives men an excuse not to pay attention. A lot of men hear the term women's issues and we tend to turn it out and we think I'm a guy, that's for girls or that's for women. The speaker used the first is to make it clear to the audience that calling gender violence as a woman's problem is giving men an excuse not to pay attention. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Hi, my name is Tan Kok Sing, and now I want to explain question 7, which was explain the speaker's voice during the speech. First, volume. The speaker was using a microphone to increase his volume to allow the audience to hear what he say better and clearer. Second, pitch. The definition of pitch is the vocal element in which we can hear the vibration of the vocal cord. We can hear that Jackson has increased his pitch when asking the audience why was she wearing it at the party, and then he lowered down its pitch, explaining that this is victim blaming to the audience. Thirdly, rate. We can clearly hear that the speaker speak at a consistent speed of rate during the speech, except for when he was giving the example, he had increased the speed. And moreover, pauses. Pauses mean that the momentary break in vocal delivery can help the audience to have some time to process or understand what the speaker is speaking or what he wants to explain about. The speaker stopped for a second and a half after finish asking by what some adult man is doing against their mother, themselves, their sister. This is mainly the speaker want the audience to think about their feeling toward this question. Other than that pronunciation, the speaker is very clear and fluent throughout the speech. We did not make word too close together where might cause audience unable to understand. Dialect. The speaker was speaking in a proper English without any dialect that some people may not understand and cause misunderstanding. The next question is explain the speaker's body during the speech. First, appearance. The speaker was wearing in a semi-formal suit where we can see he's wearing a formal together with blazer, but he did not wear a tie. But overall, he looked very professional. We can see that he did not dye his hair to black, although he was already white. This can show that he had an experience as an experienced person to give this speech. Secondly, movement. We can see the speaker was walking from the left side of the stage toward the other side of the stage to make the audience to feel that it was very authentic compared where he's standing at the same spot and this will able to attract the audience attention. Thirdly, gesture. The speaker keep moving his hand to express his explanation to let the audience to more understanding and also got the visual imaginary. Lastly, eye contact. With the help of eye contact, it can help the speaker to connect together with the audience. This is because the speaker can see whether the audience was looking at them and determine who didn't focus when he's giving the speech. And now I want to pass this to the next person.
Hi, my name is Chawan Chi. I will continue the part about uses of reasoning. The speaker had discovered 3 different kinds of reasoning, such as principal reasoning, causal reasoning, and also analogical reasoning. By applying principal reasoning, the speaker could present their thoughts with clarity. The speaker said that gender violence is the responsibility of everyone to ensure safe and respectful society. Hence, gender violence should not be attributed exclusively to women only. However, it should be viewed as a responsibility shared by everyone. Next, the causal reasoning refers to the process of making logical connection between causes and predict potential outcomes based on causes. The speaker said that involving men in the conversation and making them accountable is the key to reducing gender violence. The speaker expressed that including men would lead to decrease in violence against women. Furthermore, analogical reasoning refers to the comparison between 2 different situations. For example, involving communities in crime prevention strategy has proven effective in reducing crime rate. Involving in the fight against gender violence can be similarly effective. By the effectiveness of community involvement in reducing crime rate, the speaker suggests a similar approach that can be successful in addressing gender violence. Next. The next part is the uses of emotional appeal. The speaker had applied 2 different kinds of emotional appeal, which are pathos and ethos. Pathos refers to empathy and compassion. Empathy refers to the understanding and sharing the feeling of others, whereas Compassion takes empathy a step further. The speaker mentioned that we need more men who have the courage standing with women and not against them. This part had encouraging them to align themselves with women and actively address gender-related concerns. It fosters a kindness and empathy towards the experience and challenges by women. Next, ethos. Ethos refers to the credibility, trustworthiness, and authority that a speaker possesses. The speaker had mentioned that we need more men to step forward with courage and strength to speak up about this issue and to stand alongside women instead of opposing them. The speaker highlighted the credibility and influence of men themselves, emphasizing the significance of their engagement and urging them to take a firm stance against gender violence. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Question 11. What method are used to prepare the audience for ending the speech? We can see that Jackson Cass has restated the statement that he speak earlier before ending the speech, and which also include calling the audience to take action to stop the violence against women. We can see that Jackson Cass managed to create a closure which made it a sense of finality in the 16.39 minute of the video where the speaker say, but caring deeply is not enough. This made feel like the speaker know that he was about to end his speech with giving some advice. Jackson Cass also called the audience to take action to stop the violence with not only men but also include women together to stop this bad action, where he say, I hope that growing forward, men and women working together can begin the change and the transformation that will happen so that future generation won't have the level of tragedy that we deal with on a daily basis. Before ending his speech, he addressed with some word of encouragement, which was, I know we can do it. We can do it better. Okay, I want to pass it to the next presenter.
Okay, so for the last question, how does the speaker reinforce the central idea? In this, during this speech, the speaker using two methods, which are building credibility of the speech and emotional appeal. In order to build credibility of the speech, the speaker established common ground. For example, during the speech, the speaker mentioned that men who abuse women also abuse other men. Therefore, both women and men are victims of men's violence. Besides that, the speaker also speak expressly with conviction. For example, during the speech, the speaker used some famous quotes that came out with famous people, such as one of the great thing that Martin Luther King said, in the end, what will hurt the most is not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. In addition, the second method to reinforce the central idea is emotional appeal. So in this method, the speaker used some emotional language in his speech. For example, during the speech, the speaker said that Mary is a better woman. The word better in the sentence has created a pity emotion among the audience and feel determined to overcome this violence against women issue. And then the speaker also speak with sincerity and conviction. For example, during the ending of his speech, the speaker say that we owe it to women, we also owe it to our son and young men. I know we can do it, we can do it better. This is to make the speech more persuasive and more emotional. So that's all for our presentation today. Thank you.